Welcome to session number 16 of Fundamentals for Playing the Piano and for Reading Music. I'm Sharon G, and I am on this journey with you so you can learn with ease and start to do something so amazing, preferably on the keys one day. And for this session, you don't even need keys to do it. You don't need a keyboard surface because we're going to be focused on notation and taking some of the mystery out of it. You know, a lot of times we have learned these little devices to read notes and all these little acronyms and mnemonic devices like FACE and all cows eat grass and, you know, every good somebody does something always and all that stuff. You know, that is really not the best way to learn to read music and actually begin to play music. That works really good if you just need to learn abstract notes, to just look at a note and identify what it is. But honestly, when you're playing music, you don't have time to name every note. You respond to it more like a code, like reading the Morse code. So I want to take some of that mystery out of it. I want to help enlighten you so you know that music is like, it's on a continuum. It's on a continuum, just like stairs moving up or stairs going down, or like a path coming close to you or a path going away from you, like just like that path behind me. So one of the best ways to review it is right now, this is going to have a review of highs and lows, a review of what in the world is the middle about, and then talk about how this musical alphabet, that's only 7 letters. I mean, how in the world do we do that with 88 keys or with however many note possibilities there are on our keyboard surface? So, okay, we're getting into something we haven't done much of yet. You see my whiteboard? It has 5 lines across. Music is written on these grids with 5, sorry, I called it 5 lines. Of course, it's 5 lines. And in between those 5 lines, you will count them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In between those 5 lines, you can think of it as having, 4 spaces. Great, but don't think about any alphabet letters or anything like that yet. So on that grid, when you start to learn, this pen is not going to work. It's a little windy out here. I think it just dried it out, but that's okay. It'll come back. All right. So remember, there's a reason the treble clef is the high sounds and relates to the right hand. That's because when we look at a staff, which is the grid music is written on, it's the one on the top. And then the one on the bottom is its opposite, the bass clef, because it's all about that bass, right? That's on the bottom. Now, piano is a great instrument that covers a lot of notes. So much so that you get to play both staves, and there's often a bracket that puts those together. Like, hey, this is for the right hand piano playing, and this is for the left hand piano playing. It's bracketed together, because if you were just playing, say, the tuba, you wouldn't be playing the treble clef. You'd only have one set of 5 lines to be played, because all your notes would be low. Bass players, baritone sax players, any deep instruments are just looking at notes on this particular grid. Any notes in the high range, like flutes. Often guitar music is written to, trumpet playing. Stuff like that is typically on the treble clef. It's higher pitched sounds. Does that make sense? But piano, guess what? We get to have our right hand on some high notes on the right side, and our left hand on the left side, which is where the deep notes are. So we play a spectrum of high and lows, and of course, in between highs and lows, there's a middle, right? Okay, that's what middle C really means. Not only is it the C that's centrally located on our pianos, and if you recall, it's the one that most human voices can emulate and sing. So if you're like, where's the middle C on my keyboard? Find the one that you can easily sing or hum, and that's probably your middle C. So remember I said there's high sounds and low sounds. Right in the middle of the music system, the way that we write music is like 5 lines, 5 lines. There's an imaginary line in the middle. There's one line, only one possible line in the middle. That is the placeholder. That is the spot reserved for middle C. That middle C is written on. So middle C, this whole area is the middle C zone. Think of it as like a 0 point on a number line. So here's our number line. 0 is in the middle. Anything this way, 0 is in the middle. Positive numbers, right? Plus 1, 2, 3, and so on. Anything to the left of 0 is -1, -2, -3, and on and on. It's the same in music. Middle C is our 0 point. I also like to think of it as sea level. So anything above this sea level is above sea level. Anything below middle C is below sea level. Okay, just absorb that for a bit. Okay? So any extra note that's hanging down from the treble clef, like here's our 5 lines. When there's a note, little extra ledger line it's called. It's like a little mini line. And we're just going to put a note there and kind of attach it to the treble. That is a middle C note that's played by the right hand. See how it's kind of attached to the treble clef area? That's how we know it's a middle C, it's in the middle. So really the right or left hand could play it, and often does play it. Each hand could play middle C, but this particular one is anchored to the treble clef. How's about if we do a C that's above the 5 lines of the bass clef? Here we go. Oh my gosh. It's closer, and I'm anchoring it now with that stem. I'm putting it with the bass. This note and this note, they're the same note. They sound exactly alike. It's the central C of your piano. But if it looks like this, it's close to the treble clef, it's played by the right hand. But if it looks like this, it's anchored to the bass clef, it's played by the left hand. That's pretty cool, isn't it? All right, I want to go over another aspect of note recognition that doesn't get into any of that. Every good boy does this and that, and you know, all the cows are doing this and that. No, we don't need that. I want to show you. So this is like an anchor note. Think of C, the middle C zone. That's like an anchor point. Everything above it is like C, D, F, G is going up, then A, B, C, D. And everything below it is backwards. It's the C line, B, A, G, F, E, D, C, B, A, G, on and on. We'll go over that another time, because this is a kind of quick highlight. I'm giving you 3 anchor points. Middle C, anchor number 1. The next anchor is, okay, that's a line note, right? It's a note with a line going through it, a note with a line going through it. Let's go uphill 2 lines, and this is our anchor note for this clef. This is called the G. As a matter of fact, the word treble sometimes is just substituted for the word G clef, because this fancy symbol is showing us a G. Look at this. You see this little like G right here? It's the bottom of the swirl. I'll do it this way. On the way this symbol looks. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. It's always written on the line. Guess what? This final swirl is circling G so we can find G. That's why. So this line note right here is a G. This thing is called the G clef. Or you can call it treble. Got it? That's anchor point number 2. You know how to find middle C. You know what notation looks like for middle C. Now you know what notation looks like, what a G looks like, okay? And actually that's just the G right above your middle C. Okay? If you find your centrally located C, well then if you see this note, you know, oh, I better play the note, the G that comes right above it, the G that's higher. All right. Similarly, the bass clef is showing us a note. It's an anchor point. The next anchor, like there's our middle C for the left hand, we're going to come down 2 lines and draw a line note 2 lines down. Okay, this symbol, I'm going to draw it like this. Just kind of like to tell people, just pretend like we're sort of like connecting the dots or something. Just kind of like it's a fancy F. If I want to say fun, it's like I'm going to do my fancy F. F-U-N. See, it looks like kind of like a fancy F. This symbol, bass clef, is also called the F clef because this dot where it's written is on an F line, and these 2 dots are highlighting that F line. They're saying, hey, this line right here is F. This is your F line. So that's our next anchor note. We learned about middle C, anything in this zone, right? The 1 line note that's right below the treble or right above the bass is C, middle C. 2 lines up, G for the G clef, for the treble clef. 2 lines below, F for the fun clef, the F clef. Like fun, but we just put a little curly Q there. Fun, that's an F clef. Bass clef is F clef. Oh my gosh, anchor notes for the day. All right. If you like learning about these anchors, and we're not going to do any of those mnemonic devices, I said those are out the window because they do not help you in playing. We will elaborate on this next time and go further. But wondrous ones, I look forward to seeing you next time. If you're enjoying this series, please subscribe to the channel Slushbox Live, and I look forward to seeing you at the next session.